أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين وبه نستعين إنه خير ناصر ومعين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وخاتم النبيين وسيد المرسلين أبي القاسم محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين. My dear sisters and brothers in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Before we begin tonight's speech, there's been a request for Surah Al-Fatiha for the following marhumin: Marhum Ghazanfar Ali Khan, Badrun Nisa Begum, Qurban Ali Khan, Badru Begum, Hussain Ali Sabanlal, Sajjanlal, Akhtar Begum, Shabar Ali Khan, and all your marhumin and marhumat. Please recite Surah Al-Fatiha. Brothers and sisters, yesterday we were discussing the relationship that we should have with the Islamic laws, the rules of Islam. And what we're trying to do in this series of talks throughout, inshallah, the time that I'm here with you, is getting a deeper understanding of our faith and of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so yesterday we were trying to understand what sort of perspective should we have on the laws. Is it the case that we just need to submit to everything without thinking? Or is it the case that we can invent our own laws and just kind of take the spirit of what we're being told? Or is it the case that, it's a combination of both, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't want us to just blindly follow like animals, but at the same time He wants us to submit? And what we concluded through a very logical process is that in fact we need to do both. We need to first of all think and understand why is it that we need to follow these laws. But once we've gone through that thought process, then we need to submit fully. And the analogy is kind of like when we go to a doctor, although it's something much more deeper than doctor, but at a very simple level. When we go to a doctor, it's our intellect that tells us that, we're not capable of solving our own medical problems. No matter how hard you search on Google, sometimes you just can't find out, that particular, remedy for fixing the sickness that you have. So you go to the doctor, and logic dictates that even though you're an independent thinker, you have your individuality, you're intelligent, we recognize that. But when it comes to the doctor and what he has to say, then you're going to submit to what he has to say. I mean, it would be silly for somebody to if say Dr. Shahriar were to tell you, okay, this is the prescription I have for you to go then and say that, well, I'm going to take the spirit of what you're saying, and if you tell me to take acetaminophen, I'll take ibuprofen or something. I mean, that's not the spirit of it. I mean, that doesn't really, that goes against what the intellect would say. And in fact, we're told in a very interesting tradition from our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He says, "O servants of Allah, the relationship between you and Allah, your Rabb, Rabbul Alameen, the Lord of the worlds, is that of a sick person in relation to the doctor. When the remedy and the prescription of what is best for the sick person is in what the doctor knows. And it's not about what the sick person desires or doesn't desire. Okay, the doctor knows better. And it's not about what the sick person suggests is the remedy. So he says, "Ala fasallimu lillahi amra takunu min al-faizin." Just be aware and submit to the affair of Allah. Follow what He says, and you will be successful. Okay, you'll be among the successful. Now, this last point here that he mentions, that if you submit, then you'll be successful, that kind of leads into what I want to talk about today. And to motivate that, if you remember yesterday we gave an example. We said that people in the West, people in America, they don't like to really take orders. Okay, here it's really about, you don't order people around. You kind of tell people, okay, I'd like this or like that. You suggest things to them, but it's up to them whether they want to do it or not. For example, like, you don't tell people, how to wear their hats, whether they're going to wear it this way or like this way, all right? I mean, people will look at you and say that, what are you talking about? I'm going to wear my hat the way I want to wear it. And other things too, like it's like that. That's the nature of the society. But if you happen to think about that example, you'll see that it falls apart in some places. Okay? There's some cases where actually people in America are very okay taking orders. Let me give you an example. Suppose that you have an operating room, and you have the surgeon and his team or her team of like assistants, and they're about to cut open a human body and perform some very delicate operation. In this environment, there's no question about my saying that, I feel like doing this today. Okay, like I'm gonna cut, a 3-inch incision instead of a 5-inch incision. Everything is, by the book. And they study for years and years and practice like so much just to be able to do the same thing again and again and again. And it's all by the rule books. Like it's like, okay, if this thing happens and I do this, but I mean, it's a very intricate sort of thing. And as a lay person with respect to the medical field, I don't even understand the complexity, but I know that it's very complex. Now, why is it that in that situation, if the surgeon is barking orders and telling them, give me a scalpel, give me this, device right here, nobody complains? It's because there's a greater good. There's some reason why they're okay taking the orders there. They understand that this is for a purpose, which is that saving a human life or restoring health to a human body, which is a noble cause. And so they're willing to go through the procedure, take the prescriptions, follow the rules to the letter because of the greater good. Let me give you another example. If you notice, like sometimes when people get a job, okay, people get a job. Like let's take the example of somebody who works in retail, like as a cashier. You'll see that they have to follow a lot of rules, right? Like I've seen this with my own eyes. Like somebody who before, would never be able to wake up on their own. All right, prayers that always have to be woken up for Fajr prayers. When it came time for this person to get where that person got their first job, suddenly you found them like waking up before their alarm clock rang. They'd be upstairs like on time. They'd get to work a minute or 2 minutes before the time they have to be there. And they're dressed in a certain way. They're groomed in a certain way. When they come in, the smile is plastered on their face. And there's a certain procedure that they follow. It's not about what they want to do. They follow a certain procedure. When they're ringing up the customer, they have to greet them. Okay, they have to say certain lines to them. They have to offer them like the credit card option. Like if you want to open up a credit